Everyone, Thordan Smash here. Today we have some fresh and new leaks about, well, Apex Legends. So we're going to dive in and cover everything you guys need to know. We're also going to go ahead and give out an upcoming Watson Prestige skin. All you got to do is like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. All right, welcome back, Legends. Grab your Hemlock, charge your Sentinels, and let's go ahead and prepare for another round of Apex leaks that will either define the meta or, hey, maybe we'll never actually end up seeing them, but it is some stuff that Respawn is working on. So we're going to go right into number one. And first up, I've heard the Devotion is getting nerfed again, because apparently Respawn remembered that a minigun that deletes you in 0.7 seconds might actually be slightly overtuned with a turbocharger. So what's the nerf? Probably more recoil, maybe slower spin up time. Maybe the gun just uninstalls itself mid-fight, who knows? Either way, the Devotion went from I fear it to that poor guy just tried to use a Devotion in 2025. At least that is what Respawn is working on right now. Now, number two is going to be Ballistic's getting nerfed, and it's not just going to be his ult this time. They're also tweaking his tactical and perks, which is Respawn's way of saying maybe giving an entire squad bonus stats while making the entire team scream and panic was a bit much, but who knows? Maybe we actually need to see Ash before we see Ballistic. With that being said, he's still on the chopping block, and it is something they're looking into. So now instead of turning your gun into a golden beast of death, it'll probably just turn into a shiny disappointment like crypto investments. However, speaking of Ash, well, more Ash nerfs are actually incoming, because apparently a legend who is absolutely top tier and sitting at like 22% on the pick rate is just a little bit too spicy and has overpowered the meta. My guess, her phase breach now goes about as far as an arc star throw, and her snare now asks politely before activating. They've been trying to tune it down for a while, so it makes sense that they are continually doing it. However, a lot of people are saying, why not just buff other legends to keep up with Ash? And I think that's actually a valid point. Ash is very fun to play. If you made Octane stay more viable with his stim, you wouldn't need to nerf Ash. You could just make other legends more fun to play alongside her. Number four is going to be RE45. It might actually be getting a reactive skin and a buff. We've been hearing about this one for a very long time, but we are entering the RE45 renaissance. The question is it going to be the return of the Disruptor rounds meta, or are we just looking at making this gun cooler before nerfing it again in a future season? Probably a little bit of both, if we're being perfectly honest. However, this is something brand new that I just heard about the other day, and it's a Harpoon gun is coming apparently, and it's in the shotgun class, because why not? I mean, if we've seen anything with the snare and other abilities, having a Harpoon could actually be pretty interesting. It has a weird grapple mechanic that pulls enemies towards you. Sorry, Pathfinder mains, it looks like your ability that is really fun in game is actually going to be now available to everyone with a weapon. That's correct. This is Apex's way of probably inventing emotional attachment in weapon form. You don't need to just shoot your enemies now. You can reel them in for a personal conversation about their choices. How much damage it does, we'll have to wait and see though. But basically, shotgun ammo, stock, mag sights, you're playing Scorpion from Mortal Kombat mixed with Pathfinder. Number six is apparently there is a new legend in development with a hover boost and a mid-air shield. A character built for people who looked at Valkyrie and said, not enough hovering, not enough shields. Also, I want to cosplay as a Bionicle. Expect every final circle to look like a Jetpack Joyride reunion tour. However, keep in mind, this is still very early in development on this character. There's also another new ability where you throw a device that shocks players. We've heard actually from Hypermist about an EMP grenade, so this could be that. And it allows you to place two more or let you create electric fences. It's basically Watson, but portable, which makes sense because the controller legends do need a rework. So if you're going to go ahead and rework Watson and say a couple others, giving some of their older abilities to weapons or grenades could be pretty interesting. This could mean aggressive control playstyles, hilarious third-party defense, or just more reasons to scream when you walk into a building and immediately get fried. However, if you're all about skins, I have heard that, you know, the 301 and Devotion are getting reactive recolors. This makes sense. The Devotion is a very powerful weapon this season. The R301 already got one, but I guess maybe they're planning to do some more because it's a very popular weapon. I expect this to release before the Devotion nerf. However, that being said, we'll never actually know. It could always come afterwards, but you know, that's not really the way Respawn works when trying to sell cosmetics. There's also apparently a bow-only mode for people who hate themselves. Yes, you heard it right. Now that the Bowcheck bow is back on the ground floor and, you know, Sparrow is an archer legend, apparently there's a bow-only limited time mode being worked on. No guns, just pure primal violence and an unhealthy attachment to compound archery. This is very similar to kind of like the throwing knife in the mixtape game mode, except with bows only. So I'll be interested to see how this actually plays out. And apparently there's a controller legend in the works with a Sentry turret. It guards an area and presumably yells defense wins games in a robotic voice. This is your new best friend in ranked. You just set it up and let it do the work for you. We've actually seen gameplay in the past of leaks of legends who actually had a turret. I think Ballistic originally had a turret you could set down, but that got removed. Blisk also had a Titan you could call down, and he would fire in a certain radius, like a Sentry. So this is something that has been worked on before in the past, and it looks like there's a new legend that they're getting to work on with that. Along with that, another ability, Silence Trap, which is, you know, Revenant's tactical, but an area denial style, or at least old Revenant. It looks like it's being reworked and coming back in a new form. If you don't remember what this is, basically Revenant could fire like a little blast from his wrist, and it would go ahead and silence an ability of an opposing legend. It was actually one of the better parts of his kit and has been far missed, more than most people realize, with the new Revenant Reborn, so it'll be interesting to see how this comes back and for who. Also, apparently there is a railgun coming, and no one knows if it's a weapon or an ability, at least from what I've heard. It's both terrifying and probably broken because, I mean, it's a railgun. Expect either a precise sniper beam that deletes you from 200 meters, think the original charge rifle when it released back in Season 3 and it was a hit scan, or it'll have a buggy animation that crashes your game. Either way, yeah, we'll see how it goes. And the last one I'm going to go over is there is a new perk for controller legends in the work. It's place ring console, get permanent zone knowledge, plus a 20% discount at Big Mod. Nah, I'm just kidding. I actually don't know what the new perk is yet. I just know that they are getting a new perk set up in the near future, so do keep that in mind. And that's pretty much all your leak buffets of potential mayhem, chaos, and yet another Ash nerf. We'll see if any of these come into effect. Keep in mind, these are all leaks right now, so nothing is 100% guaranteed coming to the game. We'll have to wait and see for a final result. All that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into community clips now. Don't forget to submit your own to me at Thordan Smash on Twitter. But without further ado, let's roll it. Some of your guys' thoughts on some of the stuff rumored and leaked to be coming to the game in the near future. Also, don't forget to check out this video right here where I cover more Apex Legends news on the daily, and until next time everyone, keep slaying the Outland. I'll see you out there.